Bonjour les enfants. Comment ça va? Ça va bien? How are you, children? Well, I hope you're keeping very well. And we are at the last week of term at our primary school. So, what a journey we've had together. I've been sending weekly videos during term time since last March when we first went on lockdown. And as you know, the reason for sending the videos was not to teach you as a lesson as such, but just to keep in touch and to recap or to go through some new vocabulary. So we start really by simple words, simple vocabulary, and sometimes we put them together in sentences. And it can seem a bit simplistic because when we start to think about constructing sentences in French, we need to be mindful of the grammar rules and the verbs and the tenses, and that can actually affect the language that we use in our speaking and in our writing. So a lot of the time we've kept it to simple vocabulary. And we've also aligned some of our lessons with what's going on in the world. So when it's Easter, we were learning about Pâques, which was Easter. When it's Christmas, Noël, 14th of July, Bastille. We had Diwali. We had all various other things. Oh, Pancake Day, Epiphany. So lots of events and lots of real tangible things that we've been using. Sorry, real events, real dates, real things that are going on in the world that we can use to help us to learn our French, starting really with nouns and thinking about adjectives and sometimes with phrases and putting things together. So what I thought I would do today, I'm going to make you do the work. I'm going to ask you to think about the different categories that we've covered together. We're not going to think about all of them, but what I want to do is give you some clues about the topic titles. And I wonder if you could maybe create yourself a little spider graph or have a conversation with somebody. Pause the video. If I say Pâques, for example, which is Easter, what can you think about? What did we discuss about that? Can you then maybe create a little spider graph or word charts or bullet points, any of the vocabulary that went along with that particular topic? I wonder if you can, and think of it in English and then maybe think about the French or go straight to the French. So for example, here's one I think you might all remember, days of the week. We use a song for the days of the week, and some of us really have practiced that a lot anyway. But can you remember the days of the week? Les jours de la semaine. Les jours de la semaine, the days of the week. If you can, maybe try and write down les jours de la semaine, or just days of the week, and then see if you can remember the 7 days in French. Write them all around. I wonder if you can think about, we talked about making pancakes, didn't we? We talked about a day in France when it's very traditional to make pancakes, and we thought about different ingredients. We used that to learn about food. What food, can you remember what ingredients? We talked about eggs, we talked about sugar, milk. Can you remember those words? What else did we do? Oh, we talked about different holidays in France, and we talked about those in English, I think, actually. So there's something else you could maybe do. Parts of the body. Can you remember? Parts of the body. The body, yeah, le corps. C-O-R-P-S is your body. So, I think it's that corps. Oh, I got myself confused. Right, the body. So, put your heading in English if you want to. We did our head, shoulders, we did our knees and our toes. For example, eyes, ears, mouth and nose. Can you remember? Sometimes when we've learnt a song, it might be helpful to think about the tune and the song, and then you might remember the vocabulary to go with it. Some of you will have books, and we might have practiced this before, so you could use that to remind yourself. Or the weather, le temps, T-E-M-P-S, le temps, or just write weather. And around the word weather or underneath, can you remember what we said about it's hot, it's cold, it's snowing, it's raining? Can you remember any of that vocabulary? Pause the video, have a chat, have a think, brainstorm. And again, if you do the actions, oh, it's hot. What was that? Oh, il fait chaud. Il fait chaud. So that's something else we did. We did clothes. We talked about all the different clothes we wore. You might remember a put on like lots and lots of layers of clothes, and we talked about those. We learnt about different types of sport, football, tennis, table tennis. What else did we learn about? The planets, les planètes, and we labelled the planets. And we thought about a song. Can you remember? It went to the tune. Mercury, Venus. I'm not going to say anything else. See if you can remember that. We talked about what is in your pencil case. Have a look at your pencil case if it's in front of you. Pull something out. Can you remember how we say a rubber? A pencil? A pen? Can you remember if it's un or une? If it's masculine or feminine? And we talked about France as well, didn't we? We looked at the different rivers in France. There was another song there. We talked about... Oh, we drew the Eiffel Tower. That was good fun. So there's no French to remember there as such. What else did we do? We've more recently been learning about the holidays. Where can you go on holiday? We talked about different parts of a country, didn't we? The countryside, a city. We talked about different methods of transport. So we might have thought about how you say a car, how you say an aeroplane. We might have talked about... So if you can remember them and you want to write them down, don't worry about the spelling if you're not quite sure. Get the vocabulary down, and then maybe you can check your spelling afterwards with a friend. I'd be very happy to have a look myself. You could maybe look the words up if you want to. We have some French dictionaries if you've got time. What else did we do? We talked about birthdays, didn't we? So months of the year, we talked about numbers up to 31. So we could then talk about the months of the year. And I think we also did the seasons. Now, I know I'm talking very quickly about all these different things, but I wonder what else you can think that we did. Have a brainstorm. We went to a restaurant. We talked about a plate, a knife, a fork, a cup. What else did we do? Pets. Do you have a pet? And we talked about a few different types of animals. And then I made a video with some dogs. Do you remember? So we then described the dogs. Going back to food, we talked about fruit and vegetables. We've shared some stories, haven't we? We've shared different stories. At Christmas time, we shared the snowman. Can you remember any vocabulary from that? And the roule galette story, which I know I've just talked about with Epiphany. And numbers, how old you are, we've said that. Excuse me. Diwali, lots of treats. We talked about presents. We talked about fireworks, didn't we? And then we had a little trip to a forest. We thought about what might you see in a forest? Mushrooms, trees, things like that. We went to the French market. That was exciting. We saw the typical French goodies, the soaps, cakes, things like that. We talked about how we could give our opinion. I like gem. I don't know. Can you remember that? And more recently as well, we've been talking about rooms of a house, haven't we? How do we say a house? A bungalow, flat, an apartment. I live in the countryside. I live in the city. And of course, we did our prepositions in front of, behind, in. We talked about, we mentioned 6 different countries, didn't we? And we looked at how we would say, I am visiting, or I would like to visit a country, or I am in a country. And we use vocabulary for that. We went to the beach. What was the beach? La plage. So, and then I think we finished up by asking, where do you go on holiday? Just go back to that. So have a little think. Have a brainstorm. Not going to expect you to remember every topic and every set of vocabulary, but even if you can just try to remember a few things we've been learning about, what we've done is develop our skills of our listening and our understanding. If you've been repeating, you're thinking about your accent. If you might have been reading, you might have been writing. So you're developing your language skills all the time. So hopefully we're going to go back to face-to-face teaching. So this could be the last online video that we share. However, I will carry on with my YouTube channel, and I will post French vocabulary and phrases. From time to time, I'll pick some more topics that we haven't shared already. So if you subscribe, I'll keep doing that. It won't be every week. but hopefully there'll be some new interesting things. But if not, I really hope you've enjoyed the lesson. I have absolutely missing all of you, and hopefully we will see you soon. But meanwhile, bon vacances, happy holidays, au revoir.